Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, yo. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
Hello and welcome to another episode here at West Coast Dogman Project. I'm your host, Shea Michael Crisp, and manning the co-pilot seat tonight is none other than Todd Metz. Todd, honored to have you back, brother, like always.
Thanks a lot, Shane. Good to be here.
Yeah,
Awesome.
good. And we have none other than Leroy Smith. Leroy, welcome to the show, brother. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hi, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, Leroy, if you don't mind, can you give us a little brief description or bio on yourself?
My name is Leroy. I am 37 years old, and I live in Chula Vista, California, and my job is security.
Right on. So, how long have you been doing security, if you don't mind me asking?
About 12 years.
Oh, wow. So a long time.
Yeah,
Good.
it is.
Well, Leroy, thanks for joining us tonight. Why don't you, jump right into your first encounter? Give us the details. Where was it? What happened to you? What did you see? So let us in on it.
All right. Well, first off, there was 2 encounters in California, and then another one that was in Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
So, but the very first one was in Pennsylvania, probably about 96, 97. I was about 10 or 11 years old. So it was during the summer. Me and my mom, we went to go visit my grandma and my pop-up, and they live in Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, I cannot give where in Pennsylvania, because I made that mistake before. Okay, so I'm not sure how many days it was after we landed there, but it was morning. My mom and my grandma, they were going to go out. My pop-up, he was already out going to work, and my oldest cousin was there with me. So I guess he was babysitting me. We were playing a video game for a while, and then maybe about an hour or 2 later, we went and got something to eat, came back, he was going to make it. So I told my cousin that I was going to go ahead and go outside in the back porch. So, and it's gated, so I can't go out of the porch area. So I'm there in the porch area, just playing. I had a toy gun, and then I had 2, what I'm thinking that they are now are 2 humanoid toys. One was of a dog or a wolf, and the other one was a crocodile. So every once in a while I'll switch and I'll play with them. And I decided to get my toy gun, and I'm pretending like I'm shooting at the trees all the way at the back. So it's the porch, and then there's green grass that I guess shows where my grandma or my grandpa's property started. And after that it was field, and then wilderness, trees, bushes, and all that, and it was pretty thick too. So I'm just aiming at the trees slowly, and every once in a while I'll look at the toys, and then I'll look back again. And as I'm aiming, I move all the way to my left, and there was I don't know if it was a tree or a bush, but then there was a head. It looked like a head of a dog. I couldn't tell how big it was, because it was from a far distance. But I just remember seeing a head, and I'm like, I was like, is that real? Because it wasn't moving. The eyes weren't moving, mouth wasn't, nothing was moving on this head. And it was like a good distance. Like, I don't know if I could, so like, if you were to look at that house there, where that, not the chimney here, but the other chimney, that's how far it was.
Okay.
From where I was. So, and I'm just looking at it, I was like, it's not moving. But I wasn't thinking, I've never seen a wolf before. I've never even seen werewolf movies. I've only heard about werewolves from my grandma, because she's into that stuff. So I was like, is that some kind of dog? I was like, I've never seen a dog like that. I couldn't tell how big it was or anything like that, because all I saw was literally the head. So like example, the gentleman that's on your page, I wish I remembered his name. but he's the one that always does the videos of paranormal and stuff like that. And he had one of Dogman. It was blurry-ish, but you could tell that there was a Dogman face, right?
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, holy shit. It brought me back to when I saw something similar. The only thing though is it did not look blurry like that. It looked like an actual, like in the flesh.
Yeah.
So, but I was thinking, did somebody put it there? Like, is it a toy? Is it a mask? Is somebody playing games with me?
Mhm.
So, but finally I was just standing there. I'm just looking at it. I'm not moving. I'm just standing there looking at it, but it wasn't moving. I didn't see no arms, no nothing, just the head. And then finally my cousin comes out and he's like, I got the food ready. And I was like, Daniel, I was like, do you see that? And I'm pointing right at it. And he's like, what are you looking at? I was like, you don't see that dog right there? And he's looking, he's like, I don't see a dog there. I was like, look, he's right. I was like, he's right there, He's like, and he starts laughing. He's like, dude, I don't see nothing there. And I was like, so I kind of got mad a little bit and I kind of whined a little bit. I remember whining and I like pulled him down to my height and I took like my arm and I'm doing this and I have like his head on the other side and I'm doing this. I was like, you see him right there? And I'm pinpointing at him. I was like, you don't see that? And he's like, dude, I don't see anything. So finally, I just got mad, and I'm like, you're lying to me. I was like, you're lying to me. I was like, you do see it. And I remember kind of crying a little bit because I was like, is it him? Does he have a friend out there doing this to me?
Mhm.
And he's like, dude, there's nothing there. He's like, how about you go show me? So I went and I took his hand, and so it's a gate, and I opened the gate, and when we took 2 steps forward, all of a sudden it stood up.
Oh, wow.
Once it stood up, my cousin said, oh shit, picked me up, ran back in the house, locked the door, and he told me to go up to the room upstairs.
Mhm.
And I could hear him getting on the phone. He's like, I think there's somebody with a costume hiding in the bushes, and he was talking to my nephew.
Wow.
He was talking to the cops. But I'm upstairs and I'm just like, what just happened? I'm like, whoa, what just happened? I was like, it had to be a dog. I was like, why is he saying this? So I'm just waiting. And then I went to my room. Because I wanted to check to make sure my toys were still down there on the porch. I was
Mhm.
hoping maybe I could see them, but I couldn't. And then as I was looking outside, I was like, I wonder if the head's still there or like if it's still there. So and I'm trying to look, and so I was able to open the window and I stuck my head out a little, and it wasn't in that spot. It was like I'm not sure how far forward it was going, but where I saw it, I saw the back of this dog man, but I couldn't tell. Like I know it was bigger than most of those bushes.
Mhm.
Well, I can't even give an estimate, but I know those bushes were taller than me.
Mhm.
And it was just slowly just walking away. But like, I'm trying to figure out what it was, because then once I noticed it wasn't all fours, I was thinking, was it somebody in a costume? But when you saw, I just kind of remember how big it was. How big it was, how big the arms were. I don't know if it's because of how small I was, maybe.
Mhm.
But when I looked at it, I was like, okay, that's a weird dog. I was thinking, that's a weird dog. So, but then finally the cops came and they were like, oh, hey, I hear him talking to my cousin, like, what happened, blah, blah, and he told me. So then finally the cops called me over and they were asking, okay, what happened? And I told them I was playing with my toys and I saw a head and I said it was a dog's head. Unfortunately, I don't really remember the colors
Mhm.
because it looked kind of darkish where it was. So, but he was like, okay, like, where did you see it? And he's like, can you tell me where you saw it? But, and, in my mind, I was like, well, I'm with the cop now.
Mhm.
The cop will keep me safe. So we drove over there in the car because it would have been a pretty good, good distance. So we drove over there, and I was showing him where it was, and he was looking around, but he was thinking it's a person in a costume. And he's like, "Well, can you describe to me what it looked like?" And I got excited. I was like, "Oh!" And I showed him my toy,
Mhm.
the humanoid dog toy that I had at that time, and I said it kind of looked like this, only it didn't have armor on it.
Mhm.
But it was just like a humanoid dog, that had armor, but it had like the head, and it's walking on two hind legs,
Mhm.
pretty much. But after that, they were like, "Okay, we're gonna call your parents," stuff. They're like, "Okay, maybe they did see a person in a costume, or maybe my cousin was playing a joke." But after that, I didn't go. My mom, and my grandma didn't let me go outside anymore
Mhm.
after that happened because they were like, "Well, maybe there was a person in a costume." But I was like, "Well, it looked for me, it looked way too real to
Mhm.
even be somebody in a costume." But after that, I think I'm trying to remember how many years later, my grandma finally told me that she believed me. That she says she has seen it before. She's seen it a few times,
Wow.
and she showed me pictures of when she took pictures of one.
Mhm.
But it was like with a Polaroid camera, like you take a picture and the picture comes out.
Yeah.
So yeah, so she had those. Cause yeah, that was bugging me for the longest time. It was bugging me for the longest time, but years later, I just kind of forgot about it.
Sure.
Mhm.
So, and then second time it happened, I was up in Colfax, California.
Mhm.
I was working at the I was working with California Conservation Corps.
Mhm.
So we have students and everything. I would normally wake up early morning, like between 4:30 and 5 every morning. I'm not sure the exact date. I don't even remember. The year may have been either 2010 or 2009.
Mhm.
Um, I can't remember if it was summer or not, but I just remember during the day it would get hot-ish, too
Mhm.
hot for Californians.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I wish I could remember exactly what the area looked like, but it was like a bunch of small homes, like log cabins.
Mhm.
So I was in one that was away from the other log cabins because we were like supervisors. So it was me and another person that had a roommate. And I remember I just came out. Usually there's like little bunnies and all that. Um, Only one time we saw a black bear. Well, I saw a black bear, and that's rare to see a black bear in Colfax.
Mhm.
One time saw a mountain lion. But I remember I was just outside. I'm just looking around and stuff. And it's like open, a lot of open land. And then I'm not sure how many feet, but a very good distance, very, very good distance. After that's like wilderness.
Mhm.
And I remember I was looking, just looking towards here, just looking around, enjoying wildlife. I'm a wildlife person. And it's really tall trees. And I remember there was one, I mean, it was like a good distance inside the trees. I mean, for me, well, I've never seen a Bigfoot in that area.
Mhm.
But that's what I was thinking because I couldn't see the head or anything like that. I just saw a really long arm that had claws at the end of its fingers
Mhm.
and how tall it was. Well, like me, I'm like 5'10", 5'11". That
Mhm.
thing looked way much taller than I was. Like maybe right where its torso was. That's where my head was with it.
Mhm.
you know, like I've seen Bigfoot when I was in Morley, and when I was looking at this object, it didn't look as thick, like the arms and stuff like that, and the color and the fur. The fur wasn't long. It looked more like a horse's hair.
Mhm.
That's what it looked like. It looked more like a horse's hair. And so again, I mean, I couldn't see much of it, so I couldn't really see the face. Just like a little.
Like a
Like I
side
saw that.
profile, would you say? Like a side image of the face?
No. Like half. Like not even a half. Like if
Okay.
you just cut this off,
Hmm.
I only saw this much of it, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. So like maybe it was hiding. Maybe I thought it was hiding. That's what I'm thinking. And you know, the tree was big too. The tree was huge. I just remember seeing an ear, and then like the back of it, it looked like it had more fur in the back, but then the rest was very short,
Almost like a
like
mane, would you
horses,
say, Leroy? Was it like a
almost
mane?
like a mane. So the only way, so I used to have this dog named Miracle. She was a Roddy mixed chow.
Hmm.
So like, well, I'm not gonna talk about the other encounter, but when I looked at Dogman, like yeah, it had like almost like a mane in the back,
Hmm.
and like right after the neck, I guess where the shoulder blades are, Miracle would remind me of how Dogman would look in that area because she kind of has like a, well, I don't have it no more, it's already passed, but
Hmm.
like a mane, only her hair's not short like one, but she has like that mane-ish kind of look on the back
Hmm.
of her neck, and then that hump, or like a grizzly bear's hump right after that at the end of the neck.
So Leroy, let me jump in there. How far from this creature were you? Did you mention that?
Oh, it was, well, it was farther. Like when I showed the whole the chimney, it was farther than that.
Oh,
I'm not.
okay.
I can't. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to say. I mean,
Yeah.
it was far. Like if that thing decided to run, I'd make it to my house.
Hmm.
Like if it decided to come after me, like yeah,
So
I didn't feel threatened or anything.
so how did you happen to spot it first off? I mean, since it was at that distance, which seems pretty good, at a pretty good distance, how
Right.
did you notice it?
I was just looking around. I mean, it was
Mhm.
probably there for a while until I actually noticed it.
Like it
And
was observing you.
yeah,
Huh?
did it
Like it
Say
was
that again?
observing you.
Probably. It
mhm.
probably
Did,
was. It probably
did it
was.
did it stay in that position for say how long? Well, how long of a period of time did you witness this thing?
I wasn't even standing there, not even for a good minute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
not
then
even for a good minute.
so it moved off. It turned around and moved off, or did it go to the left or to the right? Do you recall? It went
Um,
left.
it went my right,
Wow.
and then after that, I just didn't see it no more.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the terrain at that distance. Was this wood line? Was this fairly thick woods? Was it thicket?
It
What
wasn't
was the
thick
terrain like?
woods.
Okay,
Yeah, it wasn't thick woods. There wasn't really no bushes either. It was
yeah,
like, well, I wouldn't even know how to describe the trees, but they weren't huge either. They weren't like huge trees.
Like the redwoods, right? There weren't like
No,
redwood
nothing
trees.
like redwoods. No. Yeah,
Okay.
nothing like redwoods. Like maybe if you've been to Mount Julian,
Hmm.
if you've ever been to Mount Julian, it's like how those trees will look.
Hmm. Almost like
Yeah,
sequoia trees, right? Would you say almost like sequoias
I
or pine?
probably. Yeah,
Okay.
pine
Okay.
tree. Yeah,
hmm
Perfect.
like pine tree.
Well, Leroy, before we jump into your third encounter, I, I know Todd probably has a couple questions, and I've got like
Yeah.
4 or 5 questions on your first and second encounter, and then we have a couple guests in the chat that have a questions as well. I'll start with the first question, and then I'll let Todd go in. On my first one, I wanted to. Did you get like facial like recognition on when the dog man was crouched down in the bush? Did it have a long snout, or was it like a shorter muzzle? Did it have tufts on its ears? Would it look like a variant
It was
one or
short.
variant three?
Yeah, it was like a short, not. It was a short muzzle. So
Okay.
think of the only way how I could describe it. is like the one from American Werewolf in Paris.
In Paris, okay.
That kind of snow.
Not long like a German
Not
Shepherds,
long.
right? More
Right,
like a
right.
almost like hyena like, would you say? Or chow?
And not like a chow. Chow seemed a little more shorter than that.
Okay.
I guess I would have to say more like a hyena.
Hyena. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. And then I don't remember if it had truffles or not. Like you're talking about at the end of the ears, right?
Yeah, like the tufts on the ears, like the real
That I
pointed ones.
cannot. That I could not remember if it did or not. If it did, maybe they were short. But
Huh.
yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, okay.
So, Leroy, what the second encounter here when you're in California? What year was that? Do you recall what year it was?
It was probably 2009 or 2010.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. And the first encounter when you were a young boy, how old were you at that time when you saw the first one? Were you
I was
what was
either
your age
10
then?
or 11.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I just couldn't remember if it was before August or after August.
Uh huh. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Well, you're definitely old enough to to kind of visualize on
Oh
explain
yeah,
what you saw for sure. And I was
yeah.
going to ask you, did you ever you said your grandmother had a picture of this thing, and did she ever sit down with you, or did you ever talk with her, one on one about what these things might be? Do you recall?
Um, I did like. I mean, every once in a while we'll still talk about it. Yeah, because I've asked her like, well, one time she was probably just playing around. She said, "It's a homeless man that doesn't want to shave." That's what she told me. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, sure.
yeah. That's what she told me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
but you talked about it with her. I don't. Is she still
Yeah, I
around?
talked to her. She's still around. Yeah,
Good,
she's
good.
still
Well,
around. And yes, I did talk to her about it. And
uh,
and I asked her, I was like, well, do you think it's maybe a werewolf? I was like, because think about it, of all these horror movies I told her, I was like, think about all these horror movies. I was like, they couldn't just have came up with it like, hey, like, there's just
Yep.
no way. They must have found out somehow, heard stories and stuff like that. And my grandma's like, you know what? You're right. She's like, I wouldn't think that it's a werewolf though. She's like, maybe there's another name. And she's like, because at first she didn't know it was called Dogman either.
sure.
Mhm.
She just
Yeah.
remembers seeing something out there, and she's like, "Well, I've never seen anything like that before." Because she says she's seen it back in the 1940s,
Oh wow.
Oh,
Oh,
19
oh.
early 1940s, late 1950s,
In the same area
in the
where
same
she
area.
lived. Same area.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
and that was
yeah,
in
yeah.
Well,
Pennsylvania, right?
And that was in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know how to. Well, I
So
won't give the address. Yeah.
no, no, I'm pretty familiar with Pennsylvania because my daughter lives in South Central Pennsylvania in the Susquehanna Valley. So are we talking about, just give us a sense of, without saying, direct location. Is it Eastern PA or is it Western PA, Central PA? Northern, what do you think
I'm
is
not.
a good
Well, here,
description?
hold on. I'll see right now. Hold on. I have Let me see. Because I'm not really good with directions or anything like that, or exactly. Hold on. Oops.
Yeah, because Pennsylvania is a lot of different places in Pennsylvania are dogman hotspots for sure. There's a
Exactly.
lot of sightings in PA. Shane and I were talking about it, and and it continues to be a hotspot in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Right. That's what she told me too.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, depending on the year, especially in central and western PA, because in western PA it's the territory, the terrain is different. Northern PA, it's almost like New York in spots, and you know, obviously in eastern Pennsylvania it's more urban, with Philadelphia and all of the bigger areas
It's
in
not
PA.
saying
Yeah,
it.
see, I'm not familiar with Pennsylvania. That's what I was going to ask you, Todd. I mean, is Western Pennsylvania seems to be more, countryside, and I
Oh
think
yeah,
Eastern would be more urban country, or not
it's
country, but city
there's
life.
some. There is. I mean, there's some bigger cities as Harrisburg and some cities, west of, in western PA, as you get towards Ohio and stuff. But
Mhm.
PA is a big state and it's got a lot of various different type of terrain and whatnot. So,
Yeah,
it's definitely. We should ask Eric Bentel a little bit about dogman sightings in Pennsylvania. So maybe he's run into a few.
yeah,
So
definitely.
she lives near Clearfield, Pennsylvania.
Okay, so
Okay.
we can look that up
Clearfield.
at Clearfield. Yeah. Okay.
It's
Cool.
well, hold on. I'm
You're
trying to.
falling off the camera there, Leroy, when you're
Oh,
looking.
sorry,
All
sorry
right,
about that.
there you go.
So it's
So
like
yeah, so that's
closer to it's going east of Pittsburgh.
Okay, so
okay. Yep, sure. Yep,
perfect.
Yeah.
more towards the central part of, not so much the central part of the state. So, is there anything else you'd like to touch on with your first or second encounter? And if not, let's jump into the third one.
Yeah, no, that was pretty much it with those two
Okay.
I had
encounters.
one
That's
question
all I
real quick
remember.
before we jump into the third one, you guys. I was going to
Yeah.
ask,
Yeah.
now when you saw only the side view or that partial face of the dogman on your second encounter, did that one have tufts on its ears, or could you see?
I
Because you said you
noticed the
saw the
tuft in
ears.
the ear.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, I
Okay.
noticed the tuft in the ear.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
And
All right.
that one was like it looked like it was like either like a dark, it looked like it was probably like a dark gray,
Dark gray. Okay.
Mm,
like a dark grayish color.
mm-hmm.
All
But
right.
was that too great of a distance to see, whether it was bent back leg, if it had a tail, if it had, you know, good sized
That I
teeth,
couldn't,
or
yeah, that I
yeah,
couldn't tell. Yeah, no, I didn't
yeah,
see no, yeah,
gotcha, yep,
yeah.
all
So
right,
now the third encounter,
mm-hmm.
so, and it's actually, well, it kind of spooked me a little bit now that I think about it, because where I work, it's not far from the, from the counter where I had it. So I live, well, so it happened at the, oh, what was the name of that place now? Hold on, let me look. The road I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Proctor Valley Road.
What town
So
are we
I've
in?
been,
What town are we in here? Did,
what
did
time?
you give? What town are we in?
Oh, it's in Eastlake, California.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, Eastlake,
and and,
California.
and this third encounter, give us the, the, the details as far as what time did you see it? What were the weather conditions like? Was it daytime, nighttime? Was it
It was during the
cloudy or
summer.
foggy or?
Yeah, it was during the summer, and
Mhm.
it was, well, it was summertime, but it was early morning, like maybe like 7 o'clock in the morning. So it wasn't like
Okay.
Oh.
hot or anything like that, but it was
Mhm.
super early in the morning. So a friend of mine, he was always into paranormal and stuff like that. I said, dude, have you ever heard of Proctor Valley Road? He's like, yeah. He's like, I have. He's like, I heard like, apparently there's spirits out there, and apparently there's a monster creature that once lived there and was attacking the farmers' livestock and all that back in the day. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I've heard about that. I was like, but I've never seen anything like that out there. I told him I've been to Proctor Valley Road several times. I've even gone hiking out there just to see if I would see this so-called creature or even paranormal. Like there's still abandoned farm areas out there and all that, and it probably stretched on for miles before they decided to build homes out in there in that area.
Mhm.
And this dirt road also goes to Hamul,
Mhm.
California, from Eastlake, California. So again, it was early morning, and there's no trees, none of that, unless you go to Humble area. So it's like desert-ish, small bushes, stuff like that. Hardly anybody ever goes there, and then if they did, you wouldn't see them anyways because they're out hiking.
Mhm.
So my friend, I was like, yeah, I was like, we should go tonight. I was like, let's go tomorrow night. Well, no, I gotta work. Let's try going early morning. I was like, okay. I was like, well, that's not gonna be no fun, right? I was like, that's not gonna be no fun. I was like, we need to see some paranormal. So I was like, okay, fine, we could go in the morning. So that's what we did. We went to stay the night at his place. I went to stay the night at his place, got up in the morning, went and ate breakfast. I was like, okay, let's go. So we went in his truck. We went in. Uh, I'm not sure how many minutes it was after we went through and how far we went. It's a
Mhm.
very long stretch of road, like maybe like a good 2 miles. And so we were just going through, and and we were just driving. We were just driving along. There was another car that was in front of us that was, it was just minding their own business. We were just minding our own business, just enjoying everything, and I'm just looking around. He's paying attention to the road, and just looking. And I was like, okay, like let's see if we see anything or whatever. I know I'm not going to see nothing. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not going to see nothing. And so as we just kept on going, I'm not sure how many yards it was. I mean, it was a good distance, but you could still see. And I remember I was like, what is that? It looked like a big rock, you know? It
Mhm.
didn't move. And then finally, like, the head, like, it looked like it was probably like this, crouched down with his arms and his hands like this.
Mhm.
And then when it stood up, that's when I noticed it was a big dog. But then I was thinking to myself, well, that's weird, how it was crouched down like that, like maybe it was trying to protect itself, or I don't know. But I looked at it for a little bit. I was like, and I didn't say nothing to my friend. I didn't say anything to my friend because I was like, well, I need to make sure that when I'm looking at, I'm actually looking at it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but it was like just slowly walking, and the way how it was walking, it was like a side profile of it.
Mhm.
So I saw how long the arms were, fingers, the claws, the legs. Like I saw like the whole thing, the whole side profile. It had a tail. It looked like it was like a reddish brown color. I couldn't tell if the fur was long or not. Still had a mane, but this one's snout was a little bit longer,
Okay.
like a German Shepherd's.
Mhm.
So finally, I was like, dude, I was like, stop the truck. I was like, and look to the right. I asked him, do you see that? So when he stopped the truck and he saw it, he's like, dude, what the hell? He's like, what is that? And but we were just looking at it for a little bit. I was like, dude, I think that's a dog man. He's like, dude, he's like, shut the hell up. He's like, there's no such thing as a dog man. I was like, dude, you don't see that? What do you think it is? It looks like a fucking werewolf, bro. I was like, no, I was like, dude, I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, dog man, werewolf. I was like, whatever. Well, he kind of got scared because I guess he thought it looked at us. I couldn't tell because I was looking at him for a little bit. Like for that second when I turned to look at him, is when he hauled ass.
Wow.
Like he just hauled ass out of there.
Mhm.
But we were going all the way towards Hamul. So when we got to Hamul, we went to a gas station, and he's shaking.
Mhm.
He's shaking really bad, and he's trying to talk. And I'm like, dude, I was like, relax. I was like, breathe. I went to the store, got him some water. I'm like, relax. But like, I mean, he was shaking so bad. Like, I was like, dude, it almost looked like he was having what is it? Like an anxiety attack.
Oh wow.
It looked like he was having an anxiety attack. But we ended up not going the short way. We went the long way. But that's why I told him, I was like, let's go the long way around. I told him, I was like, I don't think we should risk it. Because even I was shaking a little bit too, you know, like, see, I mean, 'cause this thing
Terrifying.
looked really huge. Yeah, this thing looked huge. Like, it looked like it was naturally, like when a dog will growl and shows its teeth, you know how it gets the line on its snout?
Yep.
It looked like it was naturally like that.
Mhm.
And then you see, I only saw the big canines, but like the mouth wasn't open, but the wrinkles here on its face, and you could see the canines sticking out from its mouth.
Like it was
It was like
growling
that.
at you
I wouldn't.
or snarling.
Maybe snarling.
Okay.
The only thing though is that it wasn't looking. Well, I know it wasn't looking at me. I felt like it wasn't looking. It was just walking. It just kept walking. Like maybe it didn't notice us, or maybe it did. That I don't know. But I know it wasn't looking at us while it was walking. And like the way how it was walking, it was weird. Like, but it looked like it could easily just go on all fours. Like how close the arms were, the hands were to the floor. Like it looked like the hands went down. Like, how could I put it? So like if I took my hand and if my hands were able to touch my knees without me bending over, it looked like that's how long its arms were. That's how long the
Wow.
arms were. And then, well, just like a dog's legs. That's how its legs look.
So it had the digitigrade leg structure then, right? The
right,
backwards
like
bending
a
knee,
dog's.
yeah, like a dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And real
Yeah,
quick,
so-
I wanted to ask you, Leroy, what year did this happen in?
This was in 2017.
Oh, 2017.
The
Okay.
last one. Yeah.
Wow.
Leroy, do you remember when you got a pretty good look at this thing? You remember eye color?
That I couldn't. No, I couldn't tell the eye color. Yeah, that I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I wasn't really looking at its. I wasn't looking at its eyes. Yeah, I was just looking at everything else.
Okay.
Now, did you ever get the full height? Did it ever stand up, or how tall was it when it was crouched over, or just sitting there? Would you say?
That thing looks huge. Like, I wouldn't even be able to tell when it was crouched over. But the thing looks huge, though.
What do you
Like,
think
I know.
it weighed?
I,
What do you
the
think it
weight?
weighed? What do you think?
judging by the mass of it, it probably looked like it was at least 300 pounds, maybe even more than that.
Oh wow,
Wow.
big guy.
Yeah.
It was a big guy, yeah. But like, it didn't look super masculine either. You know, like how other people describe it. But you could see the muscles in its arms when it moved, and in its legs, like in the thigh part of its legs.
Leroy, how long did the encounter last? Was it just a split? Would you say less than 20 seconds, or what? Because it seemed like it was really quick and within, I'd say, 30 seconds, right? Or
Yeah, it was a little less than, at least 30 seconds or a little less than that. Yeah, because
Wow.
my friend, I probably would have been a dummy. I probably would have stopped the truck and just looked and kept looking at it, you know?
right? I would do the same. I don't blame you.
Because
Yep.
like for me, okay, I don't scare very easily, okay? I've lived in Ethiopia for about 8 years of my life. I was a tour guide there. So, I mean, there was times where I'm out on a Jeep, I was like, I'm going to take a nap. And then when I take a nap, all of a sudden there'll be like 2, 3 lions just chilling around the Jeep because there's shade. Like the first time I noticed that, I was like, oh, should I flight or fight type type of
Right,
situation.
fight or flight.
Yeah, but then I'm like, well, they're not hungry, and I'm sure if they were, I would have been dead. But then I'm like, well, they're not used to people out there, I mean, unless you mess with them, then you're history, right?
Yeah.
So, but like, even at that time when I saw that dog man, I was like, when I looked at it, I was like, okay, even if it did notice me, it probably did. It was just acting like it didn't, because for me, it's like, well, I'm bigger than you, I'm faster than you, I'm stronger than you. What are you going to do to me?
Right.
I'm not interested in you. I'm going to keep doing what it is that I'm doing. That's what I'm thinking, because I'm sure if it wanted to, or even if it did look at me, and if I saw anything like it didn't like me being there, then yeah, then I would have been scared, because,
Yeah.
but yeah, like my friend, unfortunately, he ended up committing suicide three
Oh,
months
sorry to
later.
hear that.
Oh, yeah, sorry about
Yeah,
that.
he ended up committing suicide 3 months later, but he
Oh
didn't.
my God.
He left a suicide note, and he was saying that the devil is out to get him. That's what he said. But I have
Wow.
a feeling that it's because of that moment, because of that.
I
Yeah,
just got chills from that, man. I'm
Well,
so sorry to. Wow, my condolences.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's sad.
It was really
Very
bad.
sad.
But
Wow.
I never told his
Hey,
parents. I never told anybody like of what we saw. Like nobody knows.
yeah.
The only person that knows is my grandma, a friend of mine, and my mom.
Mhm.
Those are the only three people that know about it. And then my friend, well, nobody there knows. They were like, okay, like, what does he mean by that? They're thinking maybe he was on drugs, or maybe there was something mentally wrong with him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, my apologies again, man. Condolences to your friend. Now, with the thing, I mean, obviously, out of the fear of ridicule, so you keep it hush hush, and you keep it only to your, grandma, yourself, and your mom, pretty much. So, I mean, have you tried telling other people before, or have you just been keeping it all bottled up all these years?
I kept it bottled up for the longest time.
Hmm.
The only other person who I told the only thing I asked them, have you heard of Dogman? A friend of mine named Sky, and
Hmm.
he lives in Lewiston, Idaho.
Hmm.
And I asked him, I was like, because he believes in Bigfoot, aliens, and stuff like that. And I asked him, I was like, hey, have you ever heard of Dogman? He's like, Dogman? I was like, yeah. He's like a werewolf? I was like, no, Dogman. And he's like, no, I've never heard of anything like that. He mentioned something that they talk about out there. I forgot what it was. I'll have to ask him what it was. But
Hmm.
nothing similar to Dogman, though. More like Bigfoot, but it was something else. But other
Wow.
than
Leroy,
that, yeah.
yeah, so Leroy, did you have any other? I got two questions. First of all, when you saw the second one and the third one, we've been hearing a lot about people having other experiences besides just the dogman experience, like UFOs in the area, different, bizarre lights, things like that. Did you notice anything like that, or smells and things? I know the second one was pretty far away, but, you know, did you happen to notice anything like that?
I've never noticed any kind of smells. Yeah,
Okay.
I've never noticed smells.
Hmm.
Okay. No UFOs, nothing in the sky, anything like that,
Smells, none of that. No.
Okay. Interesting. Well, it's almost up to the hour point,
Yeah.
Shane.
Wow,
You got
time
any?
goes by fast.
It does. It does. We're at 53 minutes here, Leroy. And you know, if you said you were talking about you kept this kind of close to the vest all of these years, and is this the first time you've talked about this in public, basically?
Yeah, pretty
Well, that's
much. And like
well.
all day today, I was thinking, okay, keep your cool. And I finally talk about it. Because again, for the longest time, I was like, well, people are going to think I'm crazy, you know? Because,
Well, you
yeah.
Well, you saw,
That's
you
what I
saw,
thought for the longest time.
yeah, but you saw
Yeah.
what you saw, and you've got the courage and the guts to come out and talk to us about it, and come on the air and tell your stories. And West Coast, along with our other sites, we don't. There's no ridicule. There's nothing that's gonna, because if there is, it's not gonna be there for very long. So we
Yeah.
appreciate, for sure, you coming on here, telling your encounters, your experiences with us, and we're honored to have you, and we do send our condolences to your friend
Thank
who
you.
committed suicide. So that's pretty, that's
It was
sad
really
stuff.
hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was really
absolutely.
hard. Yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah,
after that happened, he wouldn't go out to the wilderness. He wouldn't even go out at night by
Wow.
wow,
himself. Not even with friends. I
wow.
mean, there's even times where, like where I live, well, there's not a whole lot of wilderness, just very little. But like me, I take public transportation. So sometimes I come home at like 1 o'clock in the morning and I walk, and I'm just like, I was like, that's the only thing I need to see right now, you know. But I'm like, because it's like more suburban, right? But
Hmm.
then I'm like, well, I've heard of encounters where dogman's been in suburban areas, the projects, cities. So I was like, jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
And because
Oh yeah.
where I work, again, a driving distance, it's like a good 6 minute driving distance from where I work. I
Hmm.
work at
Hmm.
the UPS center on Boswell Court. And yeah, again, it's like 6, 7 minute drive from where my encounter happened. And
Wow.
the direction where it was walking, it's walking towards town where there's
Hmm.
homes. And I was like, that's scary. Where was
Yeah.
it going?
Right. It was looking
Yeah,
for
where are you
something.
going?
So,
Yeah, or something. Going for a
Yeah.
stroll? I don't know. Yeah.
well, like I
Well.
said, Leroy, or like Todd said, we were so honored to have you on and to tell your encounter. We're
Absolutely.
coming up on the 1 hour mark right now.
Yep.
Where can people reach out to
Uh,
you, or if they can, where can they find you at?
they can on Facebook. They can
Okay.
find me on
Mhm.
Facebook. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, there's other stuff that has happened too. That's Dogman related, not encounters anymore, but like dream wise stuff like that. So I mean, there's a lot that I could say, maybe be
Well,
paranormal
how about we
too.
offer you
So
that? You want to come on for a part two in the near future? We'd love to have you back, and we can do a part two and hear more about your
all right,
experiences into the dogman phenomenon and what you've learned, and share with us if you'd
yeah,
like.
Sure.
I would love to. Yeah,
Okay.
Sounds
that
good.
would be an honor.
All right,
All right,
Leroy. Appreciate you coming on, buddy. We're really honored to have you and listen to your encounters and stuff like that.
yeah,
So,
and again, thank you for having me.
We're honored to have you at
absolutely,
West Coast.
absolutely,
Yeah, but yeah,
no
again,
doubt.
people, go ahead and message me. I'm an open book. So
Great.
yeah,
All right, my
Well,
friend.
people, you have it there. You can find Leroy on Facebook, and if you have questions about his dogman encounters or just want to get to know him, he's a very nice guy. Reach him out on Messenger.
I'll
So,
put a, yeah, well, on the
Hey, you're cutting in and out there, Leroy. So we're losing your
oh
signal there.
yeah, can you repeat that?
oh I said I'll do a post on the West Coast Dogman, that way so they could find me better on that profile on that
Oh,
page.
yeah,
Good.
definitely. And then when you post it, I'll pin it to the main page so people, after they watch this, they can go find you and
Yeah,
reach out to you if they
That's
have
fine.
any questions. So, like I said,
yeah,
Leroy, Todd said it best. Appreciate having you on, brother. And like you said, we'll have you on for a part two in the near future, real soon.
yep.
Take care, bud.
All right,
All right. Thanks,
take
Leroy.
care.
Have fun. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Well, Todd, that was a great interview. Condolences to his family and to
Yeah,
his
it's sad.
best friend's family, and to him.
Yeah.
And it's tragic, unfortunately. So,
Yeah, that's it. Really is, and you got to think about what the person was going through after seeing something like this, and how everybody is different on how they react to seeing one of these things. And
it's
maybe
terrifying.
it's terrifying to some people for sure, and they carry it with them, going like, it's something that shouldn't be there. It should not exist, and some people really take it to heart, and they can't deal with it. It's unfortunate
Yeah, I
for sure.
agree. 100%. Well, brother, like I said, it's such an honor to have you, being a part of the team and being an admin, a co-host, and finding guests. And I think right now we were going to start the UK series next week, but I haven't gotten any feedback from Johnny. So I think next Thursday we're going to be off, and I'm going to try to reach out to him again tomorrow. Maybe we'll schedule something or maybe we'll bring on
Yep.
Colin before that. So well, definitely, I'll keep you posted when we're going to start the UK series. But everybody,
Sounds
we
good.
should be starting the UK series either next weekend or the week after. But we'll definitely do an announcement on the Facebook page. And like I said, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Take care. Have fun.
Thanks. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Take care.